This beautiful young lady has been lying to the court?
Objection!
Just a moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth. Edgeworth! Your Honor, allow me to personally apologize for the confusion. What do you mean? There's one major mistake in this diagram. What did you say? Major mistake? What the hell? What are you referring to? It's all because this diagram was made after the incident occurred. It's a very old bridge. We couldn't find any official blueprints of it. So you're saying... I'm saying that even though this bridge is currently in disrepair, there's no evidence that can prove that the bridge was broken during the incident. I see. So basically this is your way of saying that you're giving us a updated autopsy report sort of evidence over here, instead of the original one. Is that it? You did the reverse on us, Edgeworth. That's ridiculous! You can actually tell the condition of the bridge from this photo. I apologize to the court for not being more clear when I presented the evidence. Huh? That guy is good.
Huh? What do you mean?
He planned it from the beginning. He's a genius, alright. That diagram of the bridge was his insurance policy.
What? That coward!
Well, Miss Faye, it seems you once again made a reckless accusation.
I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful myself.
No. It wasn't your fault at all. Now then, shall we go on with the trial? Yeah, sure, why not? I'd like to establish once and for all what it was that the witness actually saw. Indeed. Alright, young lady. May I ask you to please proceed with your testimony?
But it's so hard to go on.
Yeah. It sure looks like it's hard for you, Melissa. We're all on your side, Miss Foster. There's no need to worry. Just tell us what you saw.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty then. New cross-examination. Let's do this. Running from the crime.
After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Then he carried her over to the car. I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw.
Witnessing such violence must have been difficult.
Yes, sir. I'm still shaken up.
If he accepts his testimony as it is, we're finished.
Don't say that!
Oh well. Maybe I'll stop up at my favorite cafe on the way home. They make a really great mocha latte.
This trial isn't over yet.
Huh? That's what I like to hear. Alright, Miss Faye. Your cross-examination, if you please.
The contradiction is staring you right in the face, Mia. Go on the attack.
Yeah, sorry.
Alrighty then, Melissa. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Are you saying that the victim didn't fall down on a bridge? Actually, maybe she...
Of course she didn't fall down on the bridge. If she had fallen down, this photo wouldn't make any sense. If that was the case, her coat would have been all muddy.
If you don't mind, I was asking the witness.
No need to be so rude. Jesus. Well, young lady?
Of course she didn't fall down. The man in the prison uniform grabbed her before she could.
Oh. We're one step too slow. And then, what did the defendant do after that?
Then he carried her over to the car.
You personally witnessed that?
Yes.
Did anything strange happen when he did that?
Well, I don't know if you'd call it strange or not. But that's when the victim's scar fell off.
I see. You mean this scarf? Her words match what we found at the scene. I don't see any problem. Of course you don't.
I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body was stayed hidden.
Right. You mean the defendant carried the body all by himself?
Yes.
Considering the size of the defendant, I don't think it would be difficult. Yes, but let's remember they were on a narrow bridge that was ready to collapse. Is it even possible for him to have carried the dead body on a bridge like that?
Objection!
Well, the fact of the matter is that he did. That kind of talk is just silly. Silly Petey. Wow. Why did he get so emotional all of a sudden? Is it because he is aware of something? Of course he is. Let's say, if you think there's some other possibility, please share it with the rest of us.
You can just leave the body on top of the bridge.
Why do you say that? It's already a broken down bridge hidden away in the mountains. Doing anything more to hide the box would be going overboard, wouldn't it?
Yes, but that mountain is famous among hikers. A surprising number of people go up there.
But it's February, right? And it was raining that day, correct?
There is also a small temple and a chanting dojo there. You know those monks? They just love cold, isolated places.
I think the witness is trying to say that the corpse could have been found at any time. Besides, the witness is merely reporting what she witnessed with her own eyes. Right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Only I'm supposed to talk about what I saw.
And you're absolutely certain that it was my client who was carrying the body?
Well, he was wearing a prisoner's uniform, but as for his face...
So you're saying you didn't get a clear look at his face?
Well, they were far away and it was raining as well. I thought I was only supposed to say exactly what I saw.
Pretty much. Excellent. You're a remarkably honest young woman. You're a remarkably honest young woman. Sure of her. Something about this testimony is bothering me. But what? Hey, kid. Have you ever put salt in your coffee? No. Why would I? Why not?
Huh?
It makes you go better with coffee than sugar, right? I guess. Listen, my point is, if you're not sure, you might as well add a ton of salt to it. It might bring out the rest in something, like a piece of evidence. He's right, Mia. Go present something. You got nothing to lose. Well, except if you present too much, you're gonna fail this case. By the way, I won't put salt in my coffee. The two don't go well, after all. Yeah, surely. I don't know what kind of metaphor you were trying to go for there, Gato. I mean, I understand what you were trying to say, but okay, you know what? Let me see about something. She says that it was the only way he could make sure the body would stay like it was hidden. That she could just throw it in the trunk of the car. But you know, there are other ways to hide the body and all that. I mean, not only do we have, let me see. I mean, we have the entire forest over here, like in the left, where he could have hid the body. That, or he could just throw the body in the river. Nobody would find the body at that point, for sure. So, yeah, I don't know about that one. That is something that we can point out. Anything else? Surely he couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. You're right, you're supposed to talk about the things that you saw. But you're not telling us everything here. And he carried her over to the car, stabbed her in the back. Nah, you know what? I think that you're lying to us about some stuff around here. There are multiple ways to hide the body over here, so... A killer not wanting his victim to be found. I can understand that. However, the idea of moving the body for that purpose is clearly odd. There was a much easier way to make sure the body wasn't found. Yeah, truly. I mean, if we are to talk about the car, you would have to break the trunk of the car and hit it there. And no doubt that some people were gonna check the car, see about it, and notice that the trunk of the car was broken, and thus they would find the body easy there. Instead of just hiding it in the bushes or throwing it in the river or whatever you could do to hide the body like much more safely in the forest or like anywhere out there in the bridge. Well, what is it?
Take another look at a map of the area and you'll see how. There's a river right below the bridge. Earlier, Mr. Edgeworth pointed out something interesting about the river.
For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in there are never recovered. Oh, yeah, which would make it a perfect way to hide the body.
In the kidnapping case 5 years ago, the victim's body was carried away and never found. If 10 murders were to occur at the same spot above the Eagle River, you can bet your boots that every other killer would have tossed the body in the water.
Order! 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 I'm not sure if I care for the way you put that, Miss Faye. Well, what do you care about? But I must admit it does seem odd to not have thrown the body into the river. Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
How sad. Perhaps Miss Faye would do well to try taking a dip in the river herself.
What do you mean?
After all, he claimed to be such an expert in the ways of nature.
What are you talking about? Well, I guess Edgeworth did his homework. She knows some stuff about me, huh?
The point is that no matter how odd you may find the killer's method of body disposal, the fact is that this is what the killer did. None of your arguments have anything to do with what the witness saw.
Quite true. Miss Faye, it seems that your assertion is without merit after all.
But what the witness claims to have seen is totally ridiculous.
Objection!
Surely you cannot deny that the body was found in the trunk of the car. That's only consistent with what the witness has told us. I wondered about that.
Eh.
Please, witness, go on with your testimony.
I'll try.
All you have to do is tell us only what you saw. Otherwise, the mean lady might yell at you again.
What is he talking about?
The only other female in this courtroom that nobody cares about, apparently. Except for us.
Alright, I'll do my best.
Alright. Back to our cross-examination here. The same one. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the... I mean, this is the only statement. Alright, you know what? This is something that I noticed as well. I think that you're lying yet again, Melissa Foster. Oh, big surprise. You're lying to us again. Especially when it comes to a certain point of view that you had from where you took that photo. I mean, not only do we have this hill over here that no doubt you wouldn't be able to climb it in the first place, but I also noticed that in the witness's photo out here, you also have this stone over here. And yet you're telling us that you managed to see the car as well in the first place? If you truly were where you were, then you wouldn't have known about the car in the first place.
Melissa Foster. So yeah, I think that you're lying about this.
Objection!
Well, Miss Foster, it looks like you've done it this time.
Then what?
Made a crucial mistake. A crucial mistake? Like what, Miss Faye? The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. You're saying you saw that, right? With your own very own eyes?
Yes, and?
It's simple, Miss Foster. Take a look at the diagram. The place you came to have taken the photo from that day is here. Do you see what I mean? Even if you try to see the car, this outcropping of rock is directly in the way. Yeah, truly. It's because of that rock that you couldn't even see the car in the first place. So how did you know that the killer actually had a car in the first place? Not only that, but you knew that the killer hid the body inside the trunk of the car. That's right, Miss Foster. From where you were standing, you could not have possibly seen the killer's car.
Objection!
I admit that the diagram shows a large outcropping of rock. However, it isn't so tall that it would stop her from seeing the car. Yeah, what a lot of bullcrock. I mean, not only are you bullshitting us, Edgeworth right over here, but remember, you did tell us before that that diagram that you told us about was the updated one. The one that happened after the incident. So clearly this diagram must be accurate at that point, right?
That's right. It's not high at all. I was able to see his car just fine.
I'm so sorry, but that just doesn't wash. I believe he was the witness who presented this as evidence to the court, yes? This is the location that the photo was taken from. Your own photo tells the whole story. You can clearly see the left side of the bridge. Yeah, look at it. Look at that giant piece of rock over there. It's so tall you can even see over it. But the outcropping that is being referred to is really more like a cliff. Oh. Your view should have been completely cut out by this cliff. But still, you claim to have been able to see the killer's car.
No!
Order in the court. What is the meaning of all this ballyhoo?
Objection!
Your Honor, don't jump to any hasty conclusions. The fact that the escapee fled in a stolen car was reported on the news. After witnessing a murder, I'm sure you can appreciate that the witness was very upset. I don't know about that one. Just that she saw this in the news, I'm not buying it. There is a certain other possibility that I was thinking of even from before, when I was talking about the victim not being muddied in the first place. She must have heard about the stolen car and convinced herself that she saw it.
Objection!
But she was repeatedly warned before starting her testimony. She was told to testify only about what she saw with her own eyes.
Yeah, so what the fuck is she talking about a car and all that? Oh,
Mr. Judge?
but what is it?
I think I must have remembered things wrong.
Hold it!
Hey, hold a minute. Wait a minute. You can't just say that.
Objection!
Miss Faye, no one on the face of the planet is perfect. Yes, indeed. Quite true. You know what they say. To err is human. To forgive, divine. I'm inclined to believe the benefit of the doubt to our witness here.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, fine. The more we cross-examine her, the more evidence that we're gonna find.
What? That's not fair!
Huh? Save the tears for later, kitten.
Mr. Armando.
Don't look back until the trial is over. Now is the time to go forward.
But that wasn't fair! It's not fair!
Okay, kid, you need to relax a little. Then you need to remember the other kitten's testimony.
The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there.
So tell me, how did she know that? That's true. Even if she knew about the existence of the car, how did she know that the killer had to break the car in the first place? How did she know that he broke into the trunk?
Aha!
Well, Miss Foster, until you can explain how you knew that, you're going to have a lot of very suspicious people on this side of the courtroom. Well, witness?
Certainly he broke into the trunk.
How did you know that?
Because there were marks left on the trunk lid.
How did you know that there were marks on the trunk lid?
There were scratch marks from when he broke into it.
What? Let me see that photo. Yeah, there they are. I noticed that too when I first saw this photo. It's true. This certainly looks like scratch marks around the keyhole. It's obvious that this trunk has been broken open. Oh, Miss Faye, are you satisfied?
The judge is on her side. I cannot make any mistakes here. What she just said, is there a contradiction in there somewhere?
I'll buy it or it doesn't, eh? You know what? We are definitely not buying it. This clearly empowers the theory that we had before. How would she know about the existence of the car? Especially about the trunk of the car being broken.
Melissa Foster, it looks like you finally betrayed yourself. What? You said you were in the field taking photos of wildflowers. But even so, you knew about the scratches. The question is when? When did you get a chance to see those scratches?
I mean, it's not like the news really told details like that. I mean, nobody would care about the scratches of the trunk of the car. They would care about the existence of the car only. So how did you know about that?
Finally. I finally got her.
Huh? I'm getting pretty tired of waiting over here.
And perhaps you would be frustrated if Miss Faye explained herself. Yana, there's only one possible explanation. The reason the witness had seen the scratches was...
She happened to be passing by, she put the corpses in herself. She's the owner of the car. Huh. I mean, both of these could be good. She could be the owner of that car. But I think the point is that she put the corpse in herself. I mean, that is the theory that I had before. That I was thinking of way before. That maybe the person that was in that photo wasn't actually the victim, but somebody else. I mean, the fact that we seen the victim in the trunk of the car, that it was not muddied nor wet. That and the camera, the fact that the camera has a timer itself. Yeah, something tells me that Melissa over here is the one that put the corpse inside herself.
There's only one way the witness had the chance to see those scratches.
Yes? What is it?
Naturally, when she opened the trunk and stuffed the corpse in herself. The person who really hid the body in the trunk of the car was... Melissa Foster. It was you that did it, wasn't it? That's ridiculous. I could never... It was the man in the prison garb. He's the one that... I don't think so, Miss Foster. If Mr. Foles had been the one that put the corpse in the trunk, he would have simply used the car key. There was no need to break it open.
Oh. I guess I might have missed this detail that the car was actually... the killer's? I mean, he was the one that stole the car in the first place and took it all the way over there, so yeah, I guess so. I guess that would mean that it isn't Dahlia's car. Or maybe, I don't know,
But he stole the car. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light.
Oh. Okay, I'm completely forgetting these details.
Which means that the key would have still been in the ignition. Oh, I see. Thank you for telling us about the scratches, Miss Foster. Without that, we never would have uncovered the truth. That it couldn't have been Mr. Falls that put the body in the trunk. No!
Preposterous! To even suggest that the witness put the body in there. If that were true, then how do you explain the photo that she took? The corpse could only have been put in the trunk when the incident occurred. We already know that at the time, she was taking photographs.
Yeah, I mean, she was taking photographs. That doesn't necessarily mean that she was near the camera in the first place. Now is your chance, man. Finish this thing. On the contrary, I'm not so certain about that anymore, Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, I think you know it very well, Edgeworth. There's no need to think too deeply about it. What I'm saying is the shooter for this may not have been pushed by Mr. Foster herself, but by the camera. Melissa Foster took the witness's photo with this. It has a timer function. Take that! Let's take another look at this camera and see what features it has, shall we? It has a timer built into it, even a mini tripod. Why? It's almost as if she had brought this camera just to take this picture.
Objection!
What are you trying to say then, Miss Faye? That when the crime occurred, Miss Foster wasn't in the field as she claimed?
Yeah, basically. She really did use the camera's auto timer. Then the answer is yes, she was somewhere else. Exactly, she was not in the field.
Will the defense please explain further? Listen, this is a crucial point. Where was Miss Foster when the incident occurred? In answering that question, you also make clear Miss Foster's true identity. Well then, please answer this question. Where was Melissa Foster when the incident on the bridge occurred?
She was... right over here. Naturally, the witness was standing right here.
Well, what do you think, Miss Edgeworth? Before pointing out where the witness was standing, Miss Faye should do something herself.
Oh shit! I think I chose the wrong thing. I was looking at the K and I was thinking killer, but no, I was actually supposed to point at the V, wasn't I? She was supposedly the victim, but actually she wasn't. She was in that position, not the killer's. Oops.
She should figure out where she stands, if you catch my drift.
Oh, don't worry. The drift was certainly caught.
Yes, failure is an excellent opportunity for growth. I'll try better next time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Well, please answer this question. Where was Melissa Foster when the incident on the bridge occurred?
Yeah, alright. She was like right over here. The victim! The victim's position, not the killer's. Naturally, the witness was right here.
But that's where the victim, Miss Hawthorne, was standing. Order! Miss Faye, what on earth?
Your Honor, if I may. After parting with the victim on the bridge, the defendant fled by car. But this would mean that there was no time to put the victim in the trunk. In other words, if someone put the body in the trunk, it could only have been before the defendant met the victim.
Truly.
And it could very well be that somebody put the victim in the trunk of the car before the rain even started. That would be an explanation for why the victim was not muddied or wet to begin with.
Objection!
How asinine. Of course Mr. Falls met with the victim. The only person with the opportunity to have put the victim in the trunk is the same man that killed her, Terry Foles.
Objection!
You still don't understand, do you, Mr. Edgeworth? By the time the witness's photo was taken, the victim was already dead. The person in the photo was not Valerie Hawthorne.
Objection!
What? I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my entire life.
Well, maybe you should clear your ears.
Then who exactly is the victim in this photo?
It's obvious, isn't it? It's your own witness.
What?
It's the only possible explanation. The woman that Mr. Foles met on the bridge that day was not Valerie Hawthorne. It was you, Melissa Foster. Me? Let's remember that it was raining and foggy on the mountain that day. Mr. Foles himself believed that the woman in front of him was Valerie Hawthorne.
Objection!
But the defendant knew Valerie Hawthorne very well.
I don't know about that one, Edgeworth. When you say in your note that you should wear a white scarf for identification, that would mean that Terry Foles had suspicions, or rather, he didn't really know how Valerie looked like at that point. Especially with the disguise and the hat over there, it clearly makes it feel like whoever was there was hiding themselves as Valerie Hawthorne, when in actuality it was somebody else. After all, she was the one whose testimony helped get him convicted.
Objection!
But since then, my client has spent 5 hard years in a federal penitentiary. He couldn't remember exactly what she looked like anymore.
You are just making this up as you go along. Where's your proof?
I've got it all right here. This piece of evidence will blow this case wide open. Yeah, I think I know what evidence we should use. At the time of the incident, Mr. Foles had forgotten what Valerie Hawthorne looked like. Because, well, it says right over here in the victim's note. Confidential police materials written by the victim. It says right here that Valerie should wear a white scarf for identification. That should suffice. Miss Foles had forgotten the victim's face. That's why he needed some piece of identification. Namely, this muddy scarf. Yep. Cause if Foles knew how Valerie looked like even after all these years, he wouldn't have needed to specify that particular thing for Valerie to wear a white scarf out of all things. It was Mr. Foles who requested that she wear the scarf to identify herself. That's already been proven by the note the victim left. In other words, as long as you were wearing a scarf like he asked, anyone could have pretended to be Valerie Hawthorne. Anybody that was female, that is. Well, what do you have to say to that, Melissa Foster? No!
Where's Miss Foster?
She's collecting herself in the lobby. Alright, well, you know what? Job well done, guys. Another case closed. Might as well just go home. It's obvious that Melissa Foster did it. She hid the body in a trunk and disguised herself as the victim. She set up the camera to snap a fake photo of them together. The only question is, why did she do it? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this would be best case scenario. I mean, we caught Dahlia. We know that she is a bloody murderer. But that's the thing. I know that she is a lying woman. Because of the future case. And yet she wasn't imprisoned by that point, so... yeah, I guess so. Well, what could this mean? I mean, we caught Melissa, but... and yet she was still free after that? Well, isn't that obvious? She's the real culprit. Huh. Well, we'll have to wait for Miss Foster to compose her before we start again.
Until then, this court is in recess. The defense and the prosecution are both to wait in their respective lobbies.
Yes, Your Honor.
Understood. Very well. This court is in recess.